Chicago and the Philippines. A comprehensive review of the week's special community events, featuring many exciting personalities, handled by the most professional Chicago Philippine Reports TV staff.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Chicago Philippine Reports TV, still the #1 Filipino show in the Midwest. I'm Girly Pascual. Welcome to our show. Today we have all the top stories from the Philippines. We also have what's happening in our own Filipino-American community of Chicago. We have interesting interviews led by our very own executive producer, Miss Veronica Layton. We have Bridget Cotero Carino. All these are coming up and more after word from our sponsors. Please stay with us.
Philippine Senator Amy Marcos is calling on President Marcos to stop the People's Initiative, which senators described as flawed and divisive. The presidential sister insists she will not allow the family name to be ruined again as charter change efforts spark disputes.
This is no mere family squabble. We're talking about the Republic and the Constitution and the heart and soul of democracy here in our country. Kung sino man ang nagsimula niyan, kamag-anak ko man o hindi, talagang tututulan ko. As I've said many times, we are the most fortunate family on earth. With the grace and blessing of a second chance.
This was echoed by Senator J.V. Ejercito, who believes democracy is at stake if the People's Initiative pushes through.
Hindi lang po Senado bilang institusyon ang nakasalalay po rito. It's our whole democratic institution ang at stake.
Senate employees also joined the chorus opposing the initiative, calling it ill-timed. They urged Congress to shift their focus on improving the welfare of workers.
Hindi po ito napapanahon. Pagkos nananawagan po kami na ipasa ang mga batas na nagtataas ng sahod ng mga empleyado, hindi lang sa pamahalaan, ngayon din sa private sector, ipasa ang 33,000 National Minimum Wage Law, ensure ang job security, ang food security, dahil yan po ang mga issues na dapat nating pag-usapan sa ngayon.
For Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines President Bishop Pablo Virgilio David, he believes some signatories supporting charter change did not have full knowledge or understanding of what the signature forms represent. He also says the process was deceptive, adding that this initiative did not emanate from the people. David also urges people to keep watch over other efforts to revise the charter. He hopes there will be genuine discussions about the Constitution and issues facing the nation. The Commission on Elections backs the CBCP's call even as some signatures have been withdrawn in Antique.
Kung napansin po ninyo, noong mga nakaraang linggo, araw, sinasabi natin, pag tayo ipipirma, alamin natin ano ang implikasyon nito sa ating buhay, ano ba yung pinapipirmahan sa atin, yan po ay ordinaryo sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay upang hindi tayo nagugulat, hindi tayo nabibigla, at the same time, hindi tayo nalilinlang.
House leaders say they will abide by the orders of the Commission on Elections and the Supreme Court amid challenges to the People's Initiative.
Whatever it is, ang statement niya ni Speaker kahapon pa, we will abide. Pati yung sinasabi earlier na report na dadalhin sa Supreme Court ng Senate, itong PI na ito, kung ano man na desisyon ng Supreme Court, then sabi nga ng Speaker, we will follow that.
Tulfo maintains the House doesn't want to quarrel with the Senate, saying they were instructed to concentrate on work.
What the House wants is we just avoid na a clash with the Senate. Kasi kumbaga sa kuan, boss, parang kaming pamilya rin, magkakapatid. Why do we fight with our brothers, di po ba? Instead of just focus on our work, which we still have a lot of work to do.
House Secretary General Reginald Velasco hopes tensions between the two chambers will simmer down following the Senate's decision to start its work on a charter change. Senator Sherwin Gatchalian meantime sees the conflict de-escalating after the poll body halted all proceedings involving the People's Initiative.
Umupo na kasi nga nag-issue na ng ang COMELEC pinahinto na yung pagtanggap nitong mga People's Initiative, yung mga pirma. Kaya humuhupa na yung tension. At maganda yun kasi ang importante ngayon, magtrabaho na. Talagang linabanan namin yung People's Initiative dahil pag babasahin mabuti yung People's Initiative, walang limitation yun. Pwedeng economic, pwede rin political. At pag political, anything goes na yan. Pwede nang habaan in term limits.
Senator Marcos insists they are not against changes to the Constitution if the process was more transparent.
The Senate is not against Chacha. It is not against the economic provisions amendments. It is not against even the People's Initiative. Huwag lang ganito. Huwag naman sa pamamaraan na ganito. It is misleading, deceiving. Huwag naman ganito. Huwag naman tinatanga yung tao, binobobo tayo.
The Bangsamoro Transition Authority rejects the proposal of former President Rodrigo Duterte for a separate and independent Mindanao. BTA Deputy Parliament Speaker Omar Yacer Sema asserts cessation is not the solution to problems hounding the region.
Both fronts have already abandoned their call for secession. And in fact, the MILF have downgraded their call for the establishment of an Islamic State to meaningful and genuine self-governance. And currently, we can say that both fronts are doing well in the Bangsamoro transition process. And the situation does not allow us, it's not even, there's no basis to go back to the call for secession. Kung may problema naman ho yata sa how the system works, we need to go back to the Constitution, and there are processes there that can be availed of to settle all our problems. And in fact, charter change nga ho, is a remedy to solve our problems, and it's not necessarily secession.
Lanao del Sur Representative Zia Alonto Adyong asserts there is no justification for the push for independence, and they do not agree that Mindanao has been ignored by the national government.
Wala pong nakikita tayo na man lang pagkonsulta man lang sa mga leaders. Mindanao is very diverse in terms of culture and ethnicities. Wala tayong nakikitang walang consultation, and basically there is no reason for us to say na mag-secede ang Mindanao because there is no clamor in the first place. Yes, Mindanao has been lagging in several projects. We've been asking the national government to prioritize also some of the industries in Mindanao na pwedeng maging potential na magbigay pa ng mas maraming magagandang revenue.
Former President Duterte said a signature campaign has already begun for this endeavor and that he has tasked Davao del Norte Representative Pantaleon Alvarez to lead the effort. But former Supreme Court Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio warns Alvarez may face sanctions for supporting the move.
If you are a public official, you are violating the Code of Conduct, no? Kasi there is a provision in the Code of Conduct that the government official must not be disloyal to the Republic. Pag sinabi mo, maging separate state na yung Mindanao, that is disloyalty to the Republic. No? So, pwede kang i-dismiss from the public service.
Vice President Sara Duterte questions the timing of the allegations against her by retired police Arturo Las Cañas. The self-confessed gunman tagged Duterte as the brains behind Oplan Tukhang when she was the mayor of Davao City. Oplan Tukhang was the infamous anti-drug campaign from Davao City which allegedly involved the extrajudicial killings of drug suspects.
May kinalaman umano ako sa Oplan Tukhang, sa Davao Death Squad, at sa mga insidente ng pagpatay o extrajudicial killings sa Davao. Bago ang script na ito. Sa mga taon na nagsilbi ako bilang Vice Mayor at Mayor ng Davao City, ni minsan ay hindi naugnay ang aking pangalan sa isyong ito.
The VP believes the allegations are part of attempts to include her in the case pending before the International Criminal Court or the ICC.
Bigla na lang nagkaroon ng testigo laban sa akin nang mahalal ako na Vice President. Maliban sa tiyempo, malinaw na sadyang pinilit lang na maidugtong ang pangalan ko sa isyong ito para ako maging akusado sa ICC.
The vice president challenges Las Cañas and those supporting him to file a murder case against her in a Philippine court. She reiterates she does not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC. Las Cañas earlier dared the Duterte family to face him and disprove his allegations. He claims thousands were killed under Oplan Tukhang during VP Duterte's term as mayor.
Ang dami pong namamatay dito, ang daming namimissing. Meron pong mga more or less 3,000. Pero ang total damage o napatay sa Davao City, yung nakita at saka yung missing, more or less 10,000.
Las Cañas also said Senator Bongo is complicit in the extrajudicial killings, claiming he provided the information on people who would be the target of the anti-drug operations.
Para for sure na makuha talaga namin ang target is kumukuha si Bongo ng personal identification data. Ito kompleto po sa detalye kung saan nakatira ang target, anong sasakyan ang gamit niya.
According to Las Cañas, former President Rodrigo Duterte is the leader of drug lords in Davao City.
Lahat po ng mga drug lords sa Davao City ay personal po pong kakilala at ito po ay mga allies po ni Rodrigo Duterte.
He also named Davao City 1st District Congressman Paulo Duterte as the one behind the smuggling of narcotics into the city when he was vice mayor.
Nag-withdraw po kami ni Mark Rico ng pera every Friday po ito sa 3 bangko. Ito po ang rule ko. Nag-escort ako ng bribe money per instruction po ni Vice Mayor Paulo Duterte.
Las Cañas says even Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte is not clear of drug involvement.
Baste, wala yan. Adik, naging mayor pa. So tumayo kayo. Huwag kayong matakot. Labanan natin ang mga ito.
Las Cañas said he has given all these testimonies and other pieces of evidence to the team of the International Criminal Court, which conducted a pre-trial investigation last February 2022. Former Davao City Police Chief and now Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa shrugged off the allegations against him.
Sige, guhin siya, pabayaan mo lang yan siya, mag-alig siya na mag-alig. Basta malinis ang konsensya ko, sabi mo, bahala siya sa buhay.
Senator Bongo meanwhile called Las Cañas' statements pure lies and fabrication. ABS-CBN News has reached out to Congressman Paulo Duterte and Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte for their comments, but they have not released any statements on the issue. Alliance of Concerned Teachers Representative Franz Castro, meanwhile, plans to file a resolution to urge the House of Representatives to investigate the allegations against the Duterte family.
Most Asian markets took a step back on the first trading day of February after Fed Chair Jerome Powell ruled out rate cuts this March. Investors also digesting broadly higher manufacturing PMIs for the region, led by South Korea, moving into expansionary territory, with only one seeing a deterioration, the Philippines, which saw slower growth coming down to 50.9 from 51.1. Philippine shares fell by 1/3 to 66.23 despite net foreign buying of about $500 million.
When we see a market attempting to reach a robust resistance while forming lower lows, it suggests a potential weakening in sentiment. I think that what happened today during our trading session, it was just some kind of residual activity from funds that are still working on adjusting their portfolio since yesterday was the month end, and they are likely preparing for the implementation of the index reval tomorrow, which I believe there would be some outflows.
BMI, a unit of Fitch Solutions, expects the strong growth momentum to continue in the Philippines. It expects GDP growth to accelerate to 6.2% this year from 2023's 5.6, saying government's official target of 6.5 to 7.5% growth this year is a tad too optimistic, as a turnaround in trading activity is still unlikely. It is also standing by its view that the Philippines' tourist arrival levels will fully recover to their pre-pandemic levels this 2024 after recording over 5 million arrivals last year. The forecast for this year, 8.21 million. In corporate stories, Robinsons Retail Holdings reports a 30% drop in full-year 2023 net income attributable to parent firm to 4.1 billion pesos despite a 7% increase in sales. This is mainly due to forex losses with the peso appreciation, the reversal of the equitized earnings in 2022 to a loss in 2023, with a derecognition of Robinsons Bank's net income under equitized earnings following that merger with BPI, and losses from startup investments. Without these, core net earnings came in flat at 5.6 billion pesos. The silver lining, same-store sales grew despite inflationary pressures and the high base effect in 2022 with the economic reopening. RRHI ended 2023 with 2,393 stores, consisting of 349 supermarkets, 1,054 drugstores, and 50 department stores.
It's more fun in the Philippines.
Oh, dahan!
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 901-245-4874. That's 901-245-4874. 901-245-4874. That's 901-245-4874.
Via Times, vital news, vibrant views for the Filipino Asian communities in Chicago. Via Times for your most interesting and exciting reading and your party coverages. Via Times has very interesting columnists. You name it, Via Times has it. Law, Filipino news, dentistry, immigration, humor, serious opinions, health, beauty, mysticism, Bata Corner, showbiz, and intelligently written editorials. Call Via Times at 773-866-0811.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat and welcome to Veronica's segment of the show. Today, I have two wonderful ladies, both doctors, believe it or not, from University of California in Irvine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. UIC, all right. Okay. Or UCI. All right. These doctors are going to be talking to us about some important topics like the UCI stress and coping study, and also right now the university is looking for some applicants for their studies that they're doing in the school. Welcome to our show, Dr. Kim. Will you please introduce yourselves first before we start the interview? Dr. Kim first.
Of course, yes. My name is Jacqueline Kim, and I'm an assistant professor at UCI School of Medicine, and I'm a clinical psychologist.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Lisa Lee. I'm an assistant clinical professor in the Division of Hematology Oncology in the School of Medicine at UCI. I treat patients with all different types of cancers with a focus on blood cancers.
Okay. Good afternoon to both of you, and welcome to the Cprtv show. And first thing, the reason that you're here is about the study on the stress and coping topics that the university is doing. Can you please discuss it first and what it is all about?
Yes. So the UCI stress and coping study that we're doing is focusing on Asian Americans with advanced metastatic cancer. And we want to understand what types of stressors people face and if that might be related to their quality of life and symptoms and well-being. And we also want to know if this might be related to the responses in your body related to inflammation or antiviral responses. So we hope to hear from from the community, especially the Filipino community.
How long would the study take?
This study will take a total of 3 months, and it's 3 surveys total. And we will contact the participants every 6 weeks. And the length of the entire study is about 2 hours.
Okay. What is the anticipated result from the study?
This is a pilot study, so we hope that with what we learn and from participants this time, we can do a larger study that will eventually help us know how we can support people when they're diagnosed with advanced metastatic cancer, what type of experiences they need support with so that they can have good lives and in the longer term. They can have improved lives in the longer term.
Is this study just concentrated on advanced metastatic cancer?
Yes, right now, yes, it's focused on.
Oh, okay. Is that how serious is that?
So in the advanced metastatic cancer setting, for example, if you have something like prostate cancer, breast cancer, we're looking for patients who generally have stage 4 cancer, where with very few rare exceptions, it's considered incurable, which means that although we have very good treatments nowadays that can keep people for a very long time, for the most part, we can't get rid of the cancer in its completion, and people have to remain on treatment for the duration of their lives. And this is the setting we're trying to capture in terms of what we mean by advanced metastatic patients.
Only stage 4 cancer would qualify?
For first, Dr. Ken, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say, it depends on the type of cancer. And so people with a cancer that has to be managed and controlled and often and monitored for the rest of their lives. And for some cancers, I know that it's not just stage 4. So it depends on the cancer. And we have a hematology oncology colleague like Dr. Lee to consult with. So if someone contacts us and isn't sure, we can check and see if they would be eligible. And I'm also wishing to hear from people who maybe have no evidence of disease from advanced metastatic cancer, because that's possible too. We want to hear from all advanced metastatic cancer survivors. So some people might live a lot longer. I personally know somebody who's been living 15 plus years and now is no evidence of disease from advanced metastatic cancer. So we want to hear from everyone who's been diagnosed with advanced metastatic cancer.
To encourage participants, would there be some kind of a compensation for them?
Yes. So with all the parts of the study completed, participants can receive up to $145 in e-gift cards. Yes.
So how would they apply?
They just have to contact my team at our number, which is 949-342-4811, or email us at sc-study@gmail.com. And our team will respond back. And we have bilingual speakers. So if people feel more comfortable speaking in Tagalog, we have somebody that can talk to them.
Thank you. How come this is concentrated only among Filipinos? I thought it's all for Asian Americans, but this one is concentrated just for the Filipino group.
I was highlighting Filipino group because I'm speaking with you, but yes, we're focusing on Filipino American, Chinese American, Vietnamese, Korean, and Japanese. So the major groups that we often go under Asian American. And the reason why I want to hear from everyone is because I'm asking about stressors that Asian Americans may experience. And so I want to hear from everyone. I would like a better representation of the Filipino population in our research because the largest groups in the US and also Filipino demographic is affected by different types of cancers. So I would love to hear more.
Do you have some kind of an advertising program to look for Filipino participants?
I would love to learn from you. We right now are reaching out to community organizations that we know serve Filipino communities, and also reaching out to people like you, and sharing our flyer. So that's what we're doing right now, but I would love to learn from you how else we can do this better.
That's how your means of reaching out, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Well, just give us a call anytime if you would like to send out advertising through the television or even print magazine. We're here to serve the community. Okay, one last word from you or from Dr. Kim?
Dr. Kim, I'll let you take it since this is your study.
Okay. Well, if you know anyone who has advanced metastatic cancer, please share with them. One of the issues we face is we don't have enough Asian Americans or Filipino Americans represented in science and research. And so often your experiences are not represented. And what we know is when friends and family support people and encourage them to participate in research, this is very helpful. So I encourage you to share with whoever you may know could participate, share their experience, and help others who may have a similar experience as them.
Terrific. Thank you so much for gracing our show and trying to reach out to our community. And for sure, we will try to send out the message from the University of Illinois, University of California in Irvine, UCI.
Thank you, Veronica.
Dr. Kim, Dr.
Thank
Rita,
you.
and maraming salamat. Thank you so much in our language. At maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye!
Bye-bye!
This is a prayer and a reminder. All we have is now. Anak, umuwi ka na.
Worldwide this morning, growing concern over a growing health crisis.
The World Health Organization has just declared that this is a pandemic.
Hi. I can't hug you. Don't touch me.
Over the last several days, we have seen peaceful demonstrations.
Protests over police brutality continued here in Austin.
Remember when you started going to college? You came home a liberal?
Dad, please.
That's what we do to you guys in school.
All these people that we never met and never will meet because of what had happened to them. It's just too much.
The way that our family communicates is not necessarily, it's not great.
What advice would you give for those of us that are struggling?
Deal with it.
I think the norm for our community has been to just stay silent and like keep to your own business.
I could definitely be doing more than I'm doing right now, and I know that others can as well.
What if someone is called from God to be an activist?
I can answer that question.
Shouting revolution, oh wow, breaking each tradition.
You don't believe in the Black Lives Matter movement?
An advocacy group reporting at least 3,800 anti-Asian hate incidents since last March.
I'm kind of conflicted. I'm like, maybe I should move home and be here with them.
I hope that this moment makes you take a step forward and a step together in the right direction.
In order for a subject to not be taboo in our community, there always has to be like someone to start that conversation.
You speak up for me when I can't speak up for myself. And I've seen you do that for other people.
I see a lot of people who just kind of cut off friends and family, and I don't think I can do that. I love my parents.
This is a symbol of our voices. If you look at your neighbors around you, you will see who stands with you, who stands for you.
At least I know that you can stand up. That's the thing I'm so happy about.
Do you need to get your hands on some extra money right now? Maybe $25,000 or more? If you're a homeowner, now is a perfect time to get cash out. While homes in many neighborhoods like yours have gone up in value, you can use the money for anything. It's yours. You can buy an investment property, pay for college, pay off higher interest debt, or make home improvements. A cash out refinance is the perfect solution to get the cash you need. If you need $25,000, $50,000, or even $100,000, now's the time. Home values are up, and so is your equity. We offer you a way to use it. No need to sell your home or use your savings. Call New American Funding now and speak to a cash out refi specialist and see how much cash out you can get.
Call New American Funding at 855-332-3929. That's 855-332-3929. Call 855-332-3929.
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Welcome to Veronica's segment of the show today. I have a very exciting, interesting, and very dynamic person in this show for our interview today. His name is Dr. Floyd Ski Chilton. Did I pronounce it right?
You sure did.
Ski, but he's more known for his Dr. Ski, right?
Yes, that's right, Veronica.
Okay, Dr. Ski is an innovator, academician, and entrepreneur. How's that? Those are heavy words and heavy things to do. Dr. Ski, you're so impressive. I'm really impressed. And those are just some of the adjectives that describe you online. And you're here today because of your recent project. And you're also a microbiologist, right? Are you?
I'm a biochemist, yes, but close.
I see. And you've written several books. He will be talking to us today about his currently released book entitled Another Way. There is another way to happiness. I wonder what's this all about. And Dr. Ski, I really have to ask you, what is the other another way to happiness? Can you please tell our viewing audience?
Sure. Well, we in the US in particular, we think the way to happiness is increasing wealth, increasing our standard of life, increasing our education, increasing so many of those things, keeping up with our neighbors and things such as that. And if that had been the case for me, then I would have been incredibly happy. I have a 52-page CV, published 160 papers, 6 books, 6 companies. If that had been the way to happiness, I would have found happiness. But it's not the way to happiness, and there's a major, I think, misconception. According to a recent Harris poll, 2/3 of Americans are not happy. And that's really, really sad. And many Americans live their lives in quiet desperation. And so the book that I wrote before this book was called The Rewired Brain. And it really talks about the incredible influence of our unconscious minds and our unconscious minds to really create a nightmare for our conscious minds and for ourselves. And I remember writing the book, and the book has been very successful. That book has, and I was at a book signing, and a woman came up to me and she goes, "I hate you." She said, "You told me in no uncertain terms why my life was so messed up, but you didn't provide me a solution." And she was correct. And in my new book, There Is Another Way to Happiness, I provide a solution.
Dr. Ski, isn't it that when we were born, well, starting from babyhood, we were really naturally happy?
I think for those of us, I grew up very poor. I grew up in a house without a bathroom in the Appalachian Mountains. I think there was a lot of resilience that we built up, but our unconscious minds, the minds that we don't even know are there, were built for survival, and they were built for protection. So they don't really care if we're happy. They want to remember the past. They want to remember our childhood traumas. They want to focus on the future. They don't want you to get kicked out of the tribe. So loneliness is pervasive. So almost every sad or dysfunctional emotion comes out of these unconscious minds, this back of our brain. And it's no different than the animals, and they come out of the back of our brain and they create anxiety within us, and they create sadness, and they create fear. And for me, the opposite of love is fear, and they create fear. And once fear is created, there cannot be happiness.
Dr. Ski, so growing up, people, when they grow up, there are several factors that make them, or they make them learn some lessons, or maybe that affects their happiness. Is that what you're talking about? When
Yeah.
as you grow up, and you, with all the experiences that we have in life, makes us unhappy. That's why 2/3 of the population are unhappy.
Yeah, I think we have some good experiences, but to be quite honest, we have some bad experiences. And we especially have some difficult experiences that are remembered from childhood. And so there's a lot from our past that sits in our unconscious minds and reminds us of that. So we have to be able to monitor our minds. We have to be able to look at ourselves and go, what am I thinking right now? And the second question is, why am I thinking this? Why am I where is this coming from? And the third is this thought making me happy? Am I making myself happy? Because if you want to make yourself unhappy, you want to change your life, you want to change your happiness, change your thoughts.
Is that are those thoughts coming from our unconscious mind or conscious mind?
They're coming from our unconscious mind, but we only feel them, we sense them. So if we see something that was a threat from our past, we see something that was a childhood trauma, if we're feeling lonely, these are coming from our unconscious mind. And once we feel them, then we turn them into conscious thoughts. We go, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of that. Wow, that happened before. I'm not going to let that happen again. Wow. So we focus on the future, focus on not things happening again. And again, that occupies the vast majority of our thoughts. And happy things don't occupy the vast majority of our thoughts. So we have to rewire our minds. Our minds are naturally thinking about these things from our past. They're focused on the future. They're focused on control. Like I said, almost every sad or dysfunctional emotion can be traced back to your unconscious mind.
All right, that's really quite heavy to me. Um, you wrote in your book that there are steps to uh, really, I don't know how many steps for people to rewire their brains for happiness.
Yeah, there are 4 steps, and I'll briefly go through the 4 steps. And there's 13 weeks of meditation, mindful meditations at the end of the book. But the 4 steps are: realize, first of all, awaken to consciousness, realize that there are 2 yous in you. There's 2 brains in your head. There is this modern brain, this brain that humans uniquely have, but we have in the back of our heads these unconscious minds. And they're competing for our attention. I use the metaphor, I say it's as if we're standing on a train platform, and these unconscious thoughts are constantly coming, and they're constantly vying for our attention. And once they stop at the platform, they open the door. Now we can get on board and we can ruminate that for the rest of the day, the rest of the week, the rest of our lives. Or we can not get on board and say, you know what, not today. I'm not going there today. That's not. So the first step is awakening to consciousness. There are these 2 yous in you. The A part of CAST is enhancing your awareness. It's important for you to understand, or for us to understand, what is driving these thoughts. Where did they come from? What were our childhoods like? What were the threats in our childhood? What was the trauma? Now, we don't want to live there. We don't want to live in that. But once we're aware of them, then we can start saying, oh, that's why I'm thinking that way. That's where that's coming from. The S part of CAST, CAS part of CAST, is the art of surrender. Either you're in control, or you need to be in control, or you be happy. but controlling your life in every circumstance will not allow happiness. So we must surrender that control. We must allow ourselves to be happy. And then the last step is trust the process. And once you've done all of those things, it's believing that you're where you are when you're supposed to be there. And you're here for a higher calling. You're here for a purpose. You're here to change the world. You're here to love the world. And you, if you're a person of faith, then you're doing that. You're co-creating with a divine source. And so those are the 4 steps that I go over in the book. And those are the 4 steps that have meditations, the 13 weeks of meditations at the end of the book.
Can you describe yourself or after writing this book as a happy person, Dr. Skin?
I really am a lot happier than I was. I I felt like, well, not I felt like I had accomplished, I may be in many ways the most successful person I know, but in my mid 40s to 50s, I was taking handful of antidepressants, handful of anti-anxieties. I was coming out of a second unsuccessful marriage. It seemed like I could accomplish anything. It seemed like I could save the world, but I was hurting those I loved the most, and they were hurting me. And I was unwilling to live with this inconsistency. I was unwilling to live with, on one hand, being able to save the world, on the other hand, being in such pain. And I tell people, pain, as long as you don't succumb to pain, or as long as you don't make yourself a victim to pain, congratulations in the new year if you're feeling pain, because you're going to grow, and you're going to grow in a big way. And so I took an 8-year mindfulness journey. It culminated with a devastating horse accident. An Arabian I was trying to train broke my pelvis in half and tried to kill me one Sunday afternoon. I was in a wheelchair, told I would never walk again, told my quality of life would be gone. And I sit in front of a palm tree that I call Divine Presence, and I developed this caste system for happiness.
Well, very interesting. And I think it boils down to having a strong faith, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm very connected. I I've been in Africa for 25 years. I've been able to, there it does, our conscious minds, our unconscious minds cannot connect to divinity, our faith, but our conscious minds can. And that's the whole reason for getting into the conscious mind, because that's the thing that makes us uniquely human. And we can connect to the divine through that conscious mind. And once we connect to the divine, I use a term called co-create, and that we become vessels at that point for loving the world and loving other people. And we're co-creating with divinity to be able to do that. So faith for me is vitally important. That's a little, most scientists may not feel that way, but I'm a little unusual in terms of my faith in divinity.
You're so amazing. I find you so amazing, but our interview is ending. But, I've never met somebody who was a scientist and at the same time has so much faith and in connection, the connection that you're talking about with with God for sure. And I really would like to read your book. Maybe you can send me a copy of your book, and And it really sounds interesting. There is another way to happiness. There is Dr. Floyd Ski Chilton talking about it, and he's got the right to talk about happiness. That he wrote that because he wrote the book, and also at the same time he is so much well accomplished person, distinguished, and an entrepreneur, and an academician. Wow. And Dr. Chilton, I'm really so thankful for for you to grace our show today.
Veronica, it's been a pleasure, and you be blessed, my friend. Be blessed.
Yes, okay. You enjoy your weather. We're not enjoying our weather here right now. But thank you for gracing our show, and I wish you good luck, and congratulations to all what you're doing. Bye now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. At maraming salamat po sa inyong panonood. Ako po si Veronica. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.
We would like to welcome all of you to Baladna Jewelry. We have a very big selection of 21 karat gold jewelry imported from the Middle East, from Dubai, Saudi, and Bahrain. And we have a very big selection of diamond. We offer free financing for 6 months, and we have a layaway system which you can leave your stuff for 3 months. We repair gold and we buy old gold. Welcome to Baladna Jewelry.
Salamat po.
Good afternoon. This is Bridget Carino Quatar bringing you this week's local news from our community. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit will perform at the Illinois State Fair on Sunday, August 11th, with special guest Ashley McBride kicking off the evening. The band's latest album, Weather Vanes, combines a storyteller at the peak of his craft with a band who has earned its place in rock and roll history. The songs on the album have been described as those that make you cry alone in your car, while others make you sing along with thousands of strangers. Such high praise is backed up by multiple Grammy Award nominations, including Best Americana Album. Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit will add a unique flavor to the Illinois State Fair grandstand lineup, said Illinois State Fair manager Rebecca Clark. We are excited to book an Americana icon and look forward to a powerful performance from the band. The Illinois State Board of Elections will consider taking former President Donald Trump's name off of the March 19th primary ballot. They'll also consider separate objections to incumbent President Joe Biden's candidacy, but a hearing officer recommends those objections be denied. Hearings from an array of challenges against Trump and Biden were in front of Elections Board staff Friday. Attorney Matthew Pierce represented those who want Trump off the ballot and said his attempt to overthrow the last election is grounds enough. Cook County officials are unveiling a new interactive application that will provide the public with free viewing access to the county's tax maps and allows users to search for a property index number or address to search maps with a user-friendly interface. The new tax map viewer app was developed in partnership between the Cook County Clerk's Office and the Cook County Bureau of Technology to enhance access to current tax maps, which are typically requested for property tax purposes. Users can now view unofficial copies of tax maps online and free of charge, dating back to 2019. Said Clerk Karen Yarbrough. For the first time, this new application will empower the public to explore historical tax maps free of charge. Cook County Treasurer Maria Papas has mailed nearly 1.8 million tax year 2023 first installment property tax bills. Payments are due March 1st, 2024. The first installment is 55% of the previous year's total tax. Exemptions that can reduce a property owner's taxes are applied to the second installment bill. Since Papas posted the bills on cookcountytreasurer.com in mid-December, more than 11,000 property owners have visited the website to pay their property taxes. More people use our website each year to pay their property tax bills online, Papa said. People like the convenience of paying online and not having to come downtown to pay in person or writing a check and paying for postage. Chicago officials are looking at an ordinance that would effectively ban the use of natural gas in new buildings, which Mayor Brandon Johnson says would be a step forward. A legal challenge to a similar measure out of California recently was successful and the law was halted. The Chicago ordinance, which will still need to be heard and voted on by the Chicago City Council, states that energy sources in new buildings would require a lower emissions threshold, which would limit the use of natural gas. The switch would ban items such as gas stoves and other heating devices in new buildings. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our news this week. This is Bridget. See you next time.
Yan! Dito na! Perfect!
So sure.